most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all of its contents. Welcome to For the Story. I'm Ash.
And I'm Avery, and that was some unholy chant. I think everyone is cursed now, all of the listeners.
That's one of my favorite opening lines of any story, because this week we got a little weird, huh?
I don't know.
Suicide Squad.
Weird? Yeah, right? No, something totally different. Like usual, Ash said the wrong movie at the beginning of the episode.
Listen, I saw the movie. Crazy soundtrack, lots of colors, and a light goes towards the sky. I got it right. I nailed it.
Wow. You're like exactly on point. It's true. When you frame it like that, not that much different from the movie we actually watched, which, by the way, is Color Out of Space. We should say that.
Yes.
Yeah. So
we've
been talking about Space. We've been talking about this movie for quite a little bit here. I'm really glad we got to see it. I'm really glad we're going to get a chance to talk about it, because I don't know. I'm like excited to talk about this movie. I don't know about you. Like this movie was it was very interesting, and I'm glad we got a chance to see it.
Yeah, because obviously I was like, hey, I'm going to see it. And you're like, okay, don't tell me about it. I'm like, okay. And then you started telling me what you thought about it. And I was just like, sure was a movie. It sure has a lot. I have opinions about this film as well.
Yeah.
We're ready to freaking go. We're on.
I'm just like, when I'm excited about talking about something, I just spill over the brim. I don't even think I can stop myself.
I believe it.
So, yeah, and you're like, yes, I know.
I also watched this movie.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty excited. But we gotta clean some stuff up first.
Yeah, we got some house cleaning to do. We're Avery and Ash. I'm Avery, that's Ash. And we like to talk about movies and all sorts of stuff like that. If you're listening, you may have listened before. If you're a new listener, well, then welcome. Welcome to For the Story. We like to hang out, talk about movies.
This is my fucking house. I can do where I want to, and you can't.
Yeah,
you gotta go next door.
And just make sure you take off your shoes before you walk on the carpet.
Yeah, we're a shoes-free household. Yeah.
But so like we said, we like to talk about movies for better or for worse.
I think we've lowered the collective IQ of movie watchers everywhere.
I think we have too. I think we've really lowered the bar for what is technically a movie as well. Because Killer Bean Forever had its own episode.
Yep.
So
we did that.
Yeah, we did that. But yeah, so if you guys haven't yet, leave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. That totally bumps us up those charts. Whatever charts they got, it's bumping us up them. If you drop a 5 star.
We got a couple new ones. They didn't actually write reviews, so we'd give them shout outs. We got a couple more recently.
But that's okay. You don't have to leave a review. But if you do, we will definitely read it. And if you leave a movie request, we might eventually get around to it. We're definitely taking those, and we'll definitely give you a shout out. So
yeah, absolutely. Make fun of how I'm bald. Why don't you?
Yeah, that's funny too.
Yeah.
If you tell us a really good joke, if there's a really good joke, then we will definitely review a movie that you request. Like it has to be like an audible chuckle. It needs to come out of us.
Yeah. Or just roast us. I think
or roast us. That works too.
As long as it's a 5-star review, you can say whatever the fuck you want to.
Yeah. A 5-star roast? Ooh. Yeah. That's good.
There's no corner of the earth I wouldn't overturn, and no family members I wouldn't sell out for a 5-star review.
We will do anything for 5-star. No, let's not propagate that image. No, but here we are. We're talking about Color Out of Space. This is For the Story, and thanks for joining us today, guys. Yeah. Before we really get into the bulk or the meat of our review, as we like to call it, Ash, have you watched anything totally unrelated to Color Out of Space, and would you like to talk about it?
Sure do. I rewatched Dagon, which is another H.P. Lovecraft themed movie. Okay. I'll probably get to my opinions about that later, because it's too indicative of my opinion on things.
Okay.
I also watched all 4 Indiana Jones movies.
God damn. That's a lot.
Not sure why I did that. Now that I'm watching them, no idea how these got so popular. Okay. They're good. I don't understand the broad appeal. I get why like a moron like me would like this. Why does everyone like this?
It's just that first one. It's like the same as Star Wars. It's like the first one is like the best one. And then
that's
it's
where
just
you're wrong,
like,
Avery. There's a clear front runner.
Don't even say it. I know what you're going to say.
The Kingdom of the Kissed Crystal
Stop.
Skull. And let me explain. Let me explain.
All right.
Number one, Cate Blanchett's great.
Okay.
Cate Blanchett's great. It is a movie that took down the...
Dude, the cops are coming for you.
It took down Shia LaBeouf. Listen,
single-handedly. He had a great career coming.
He had a great career coming of just making really poor acting decisions and trying to somehow weasel his way into action movies. No one fucking wanted that. It took him down. Also, there's a scene where he is fighting... he's fighting Cate Blanchett with a sword, and he's like, legs are split between two trucks, and these things keep hitting him in the groin. They're like plants. And he keeps on like half reacting, and I'm like, is this supposed to be a joke, or
no?
Is this supposed to be exciting? That scene goes on way too long. Also, I just think it's really funny. Like, I don't know what was wrong with me how old were we when this came out?
It came out, I think, I can't remember now. I want to say it was 2008, but I could be wrong. I gotta find out now. It feels like 2008, right?
Because, like, I watched it again, and I went, wow, I thought I was such a smart little kid.
Oh, really?
No.
It was 2008. I guessed right. So we would have been, like, 14, 15.
For some reason, I was convinced throughout the entire movie that it wasn't going to be aliens. And I'm like, did I not watch this movie? Of course it's going to be alien. Because I was like, oh, this is a fake out. There's going to be some kind of weird religious explanation.
No, it's actually aliens.
It's actually, and I'm like, why did I ever think that? Oh my God.
That's awesome.
It's just truly one of the most horrible things I've ever seen. I absolutely love it. I love it whenever they do like bad Russians. Just like poorly orchestrated Russians. Yeah. Real bad.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm glad to hear it.
The alien is one of the worst looking things I've ever seen.
Yeah, nothing in that movie looks good. All of the CG is just like totally abused, and it's all like really, really fake looking, and it's really unfortunate because there's some attempts at good practical set pieces in that movie. Like the motorcycle thing at the beginning of the movie, which definitely has CG in it, looks fine. Like they could have stuck with that vein, and probably if they focused on it, or just put focus into that movie in general, probably could have created some really interesting set pieces physically, like actual in-camera scenes. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Are you driving a car out there? Are you speeding down the highway?
What? Huh?
Nothing. I hear traffic outside. I'm like, shit. The only podcast that records in an actively driving car.
We could do that, Avery.
We could, and it'd be.
You realize we're gonna be. We could do that. We could do a road trip episode. So dangerous.
Yeah, that's definitely dangerous, especially the whole watching movies while we're driving thing.
Yeah, but what do you think it's for? Like, yeah, sure, it's in the back seat, but you can lean back while you're driving. It's fine.
Yeah, or you know what? We'll just get like a TV and we'll put it up on the dash.
And now I'm just imagining a really high teenager trying to drive his car with a GameCube controller.
Oh, yeah, it could work. That could be us. But shit. Anyway, I digress.
What did you watch? Let's get into what you watched.
I do want to say, because we totally forgot to say this during the house cleaning segment, but we will be picking films for the month of February. Yeah, there's some cool stuff that's starting to come out. So I'm really excited about the cool stuff that's starting to come out. It is almost summer. It's so close. I know it's January.
Dangerously close.
It's just like February is gonna fly by, and then it's gonna be March. And I live in Texas, man, so it's gonna be summer. So I cannot wait.
I live in Texas. You don't live. I live in Texas.
I think you're getting us confused again, Ash.
No, you don't live in Texas. I live in We can't both live. I live in Texas.
Anyway, that's right. We both live in Texas. But yeah, so I watched a couple things. Last week, I discussed it briefly on the podcast. I began watching the Tremors films. I'm sure you've heard of them. I got all the way up through the third one. This week, I decided to finish there's 6 movies. What is that? The sextilogy. It's not a trilogy. It's not a quadrilogy. Quintilogy.
Sextilogy?
Yeah, it's that. So I got all the way up through the 6th one.
Wait, what's the 6th one?
The 6th one is called A Cold Day in Hell. And I will discuss that in a moment here. But basically, I watched the 4th one on this little stint, and it's fucking terrible. I remember when it was released on the Sci-Fi Channel, because I'm pretty sure it was a Sci-Fi original, or they were just airing it. I don't know, 100% there, but that movie is so bad. It's so boring. There's not even it's just characters talking. There's not they barely fight any monsters, and the props are bad, and it just looks horrible. That movie's crap. Watch it if you're interested in boring yourself. And then I watched the 5th one after that, where they go to Africa, and it's called Bloodlines. So it's Tremors 5 Bloodlines. That movie surprised me and how much better it was.
Yeah. Well, the 4th one's truly. I remember seeing the 4th one. Although I should say, if you like boring, that's all that the Tremor series is. But
yeah, I don't know. It's like
because that's what the Tremors monsters do. They bore through the ground.
Yeah, it is a movie about boring in that case. But so the 5th one actually is somewhat impressively good. I was surprised. The CG was bad, but it was such a leap above what it was in the 4th one that it's almost worth watching. There's I would say the 5th one, all of the other ones withstanding, it's the 1st one and the 2nd one are the 2 best. Then the 5th one, and then from there, it's just not even worth it. Then after that, I watched the 6th one, which is called A Cold Day in Hell. And it has all recurring characters from the 5th one, except the CG is crap. You could tell nobody cared and nobody wanted to be there. And it totally, it delves into the PTSD that Burt Gummer faces after fighting the Graboids. And it's horrible. So there you go. If you're going to watch any of the Tremors movies, watch the 3 I mentioned earlier. But, yeah, there you go. Now we don't need to review any of them.
Yeah, thank God. Knowing you would be like, oh, it's Groundhog's Day, and we're going to watch all of the Tremors movies.
Oh, my God. That would be perfect for Groundhog Day.
Shut up.
Oh, you know what?
Shut up.
Who has the first pick next month? Is it Avery? Anyway, more later. So, look, I upset you. I can hear it.
I'm just pressure. Ash, don't tell him he can't have a pick next month because he threatened you. Although
I have 50% of the votes here, man.
Listen, as a podcast, For the Story does negotiate with terrorists, so
Your Honor, Your Majesty. Yeah. Well, great. So we watched a couple trailers right before we started the podcast.
Sure did.
Some interesting, unique things coming up here in the next couple months. Like we said, it's almost summer, man. We're almost there. We're holding out. But what's the first? Should we talk about Fantasy Island first?
Yeah, Fantasy Island.
Yeah. What do you think about Fantasy Island so far, Ash? We just saw the trailer.
Well, here's the thing. So it was originally this movie was a weird movie that the first one was a movie that turned into a TV show about the same thing, but it wasn't scary. It just had a midget. Now the midget's a black woman in this one, so that's different.
Interesting.
It's Blumhouse, which is
yikes.
not showing me any love. It looks kind of good though. I feel like I've seen the whole movie.
Oh yeah, totally. The trailer gives away the entire movie. So, but it does look kind of fun. I guess the idea is it's about these people who go to an island and it's supposed to be, whatever their fantasy is. And I'm assuming somebody starts killing them or they start killing each other.
And one of the lead guys is the guy who's having the whole like army fantasy. It looks like he's from Whiplash, but also Dolphin Tale and Dolphin Tale 2.
Oh, great!
So that's really exciting. Jillian Jacobs. That's different than Gillian Jacobs, right?
I am almost certain that's the exact same name. So I don't really know who that is. Oh, that's her.
Britta.
Yeah.
Is it
she
Gillian?
Is in this.
Is with a G?
I think it's Jillian. I think you say it Jillian Jacobs. We can just call her Britta. That's
yeah, but it's like it's got her name on it, but it's spelled wrong on the Wikipedia. So now I'm like, is it her?
It's Jillian, and it's spelled with a G. So
okay, because this one's right. Jillian with a J.
Yeah.
So that's a different person.
Oh yeah, definitely. Then that's weird. Unless they really did spell it wrong, but
classic Wikipedia.
Classic. But yeah, so there's that. I don't know. This movie looks kind of fun. We'll probably end up seeing it and talking about it, which is exciting. The next trailer we watch, and this is the one that I personally am really excited for.
The most memeable movie so far of 2020.
Absolutely. Guns Akimbo. I'm sure you've probably seen this on Facebook. I feel like it's going around everywhere. But this movie looks fucking ridiculous. Like, just totally batshit nuts violence. The idea is Harry Potter has handguns nailed to his hands.
And he does that, like, British thing where when they try and do American accents and they just overpronounce the R's.
That's what we do, man. That's what we do here.
So his American accent has gotten a lot better, but the R's are still pretty obvious.
He does a pretty good American accent. Yeah, it has gotten better. And I think it's
horns? Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was pretty hit or miss, but I think he's definitely improved, and I think it's because he wants to take his career seriously. He's like one of those actors that came out of the Harry Potter. Well,
you can't tell me that he wants to take his career seriously.
That's absolutely what he's doing. Think about it.
Guy who has guns nailed to his hands. That's the movie that he's going to be serious in. He's going to win a freaking Oscar.
Okay, Swiss Army Man. There you go. There's a good example. Seriously, he got out of Harry Potter instead of just giving up and doing stupid shit. He's legitimately acting in legitimate, interesting movies. You know?
Yeah. Swiss Army Man's kind of the same movie, though, right?
No. It's nothing like this.
Swiss Army knife. Guns.
No, man.
Weapons.
Knives and guns are quite different. I'm sorry, I'm the one who had to tell you that.
Listen, man, I can shoot a knife whenever I want.
Years of bringing knives to gunfights has really done something on him. No, but yeah, it looks like he wants to take his career a little more seriously. Okay. He's still acting.
Then why is Slash in Guns N' Roses?
Oh, that is a good point.
Yeah, you can't beat me on that one.
Yeah, you're right. Bulletproof logic or knife-proof logic as well. Since they're virtually the same thing. So yeah, exactly. God. All right. So Guns Akimbo looks kind of like a fun one. You said that comes out at like the end of February, right?
Yeah, February 28th, the last day of February.
Oh, okay. So it's a leap year this year.
It is a leap year this year.
So actually, it's not the last day of February.
It's the second to last day. You're right.
Oh but that's okay.
I'm like, what does February have? 20 days?
Yeah. It's something. It's a weird short amount. It's a weird month. But yeah. So that's great. So we'll think about maybe doing that the first week of March. But yeah, we got some other stuff coming up. Some other big stuff. That's around when Ash is moving down here. So maybe we could see it on the way or something. I don't know. We'll think about something. It'll be cool.
Watch it while we're driving.
Yeah, we're gonna watch it while we're driving. Yeah, somehow we'll I don't know. Whatever. Anyway,
mediocre podcasters killed in watching movie while driving accident.
Wow. Oh my God, that would probably elevate us.
Yeah.
mediocre effeminate podcasters.
They were in dresses when we pulled them over,
and it wasn't funny.
It was just bad.
Oh yeah, that's good. All right, cool. What else? We had a very, very somber week. this past weekend. I know we're laughing. It's just a front. We're actually very sad. And I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I want to say it, but could you help me out here? We're both upset.
We're both upset. Avery brought it to my attention both times. It was apparently Avery is the harbinger of death. Fun fact.
It's true. That is true, by the way.
A lot of don't date me.
You don't want this.
A few celebrities have passed in this past week.
Quite notable, frankly.
Quite notable. We lost Terry Jones from Monty Python, which was a huge part of my childhood, and it's kind of crazy. I mean, obviously, it's not someone who's really in the limelight, but he passed away the day that we recorded our Meaning of Life episode.
So we didn't even know. We didn't even say anything about it because we didn't know. And it was kind of shocking to find that out, because I didn't even find out until my mom texted me because she listened to the most recent episode and said, "Did you record this because, Terry Jones died?" And I said, wait, what are you talking about? And then looked it up, and it was true. He passed the day we recorded that episode. Otherwise we obviously would have said something then, but all of the best goes out to his family. It's really unfortunate.
He was
be missed.
a brilliant writer and one of the best straight men to like grace comedy for decades and decades. Obviously super important for the development of modern comedy and kind of surrealist comedy. Super cool guy. The other one happened
on
when I was
Sunday.
seeing this movie. I was in the theater. Everyone got their phones out about the same time I did with the announcement, because I live in LA, that Kobe Bean Bryant had died, age 41, with his daughter Gianna, age 13, as well as 7 other people, including a baseball coach, a couple of his daughter's teammates, the pilot, just outside Calabasas.
This is crazy. It's really unfortunate. I think it's interesting because I'm not really a fan of basketball, or really even of Kobe himself, but this even hit me kind of. I was like, oh my God, like one of the greatest basketball players to ever live is just gone. And it's a shocking way that it happened too. It's just very unfortunate and totally probably preventable, and it's truly sad. And his daughter passed away too. It's just rife with sadness. It's really unfortunate.
And he's definitely someone who I think, like, when he was younger, not really a great guy, but he kind of grew into a very good person. He was a real champion for like the WNBA, and wanted to empower his daughters, and he was a good dad. Oscar winner.
Did he win? He won an Oscar?
Yeah, for the animated short Dear Basketball. Come watch it.
I haven't ever heard of that. That's interesting. I'll look into that.
Yeah. It's only a couple minutes. It's really quite good.
It's probably on. You can probably find it on YouTube or something. I'm sure it's like gotten a resurgence of plays. But I didn't know he won an Oscar. That's crazy.
Yeah, so he's definitely a very talented guy. He was like the best. I think he was like the best heel in basketball. He you hated to go up against him because he was so good.
Yeah.
It's pretty awful.
It's just wild how sudden that is. It just came out of nowhere, and I didn't believe it. I thought it was like a fake story. When I heard it,
I thought it was fake when you texted me.
Yeah, because it looks like Kobe Bryant dies in a helicopter crash. That sounds it doesn't sound real. And
no, it doesn't.
but it's unfortunately it's very real. It's wild. Like, you wouldn't ever think, and it's so sudden, so out of nowhere. It's like he's just gone. It's very wild. And I think that's what hit me the most about it. It's like,
and I definitely it's one of those moments. I think everyone has the same experience where it's like you text the people you care about, because at the end of the day, all you really own are your connections to people.
Yeah.
So definitely hit up some people I needed to, and first thing I could think is, man, Shaq's gonna be really sad, and he's my favorite actor.
Shaq. Should we watch a Shaq movie in remembrance? Is that
Ooh,
rude?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it's not rude. Probably not the right move, though.
Yeah, I don't think so either. At least not publicly.
Yeah.
That being said, we're definitely watching. What's the one he is in where he wears metal?
Oh,
Steel.
it's like steel.
Steel. We should talk about that.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, he has a podcast? Shaq Podcast. Yo, I would listen to Shaq's podcast. It's called Shaq's Back.
Oh god. I only listen to his fire DJ shit.
I didn't know that either. But yeah, let's lighten the mood a little bit. Let's move on to what we're talking about here. Of course, we wish Kobe's family all of the best. It's very, very sad, but let's press onwards and start talking about our movie here. What do you think?
Yeah, we got to get into this budget breakdown, Avery. So,
oh my god, we do, don't we?
Yeah.
So
let me get ready for this one.
This is the budget breakdown.
Oh yeah, that was a good
like my Nick Cage.
Perfect. You did it. Flawless Nick Cage. Oh, it's good. Oh, he was so on in this movie. He like made something out of nothing. I don't even know how he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't nothing, but
it was definitely like he brought such a life to it. Anyway, sorry. Budget breakdown. We're talking about the budget.
So yeah, Color Out of Space opened in only 81 theaters.
That's small
right now.
That's real
very small. Had a budget of $12 million.
That's
also very
small. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How does that compare to Mandy?
Mandy had a bigger budget.
Really?
Mandy made more money.
And Mandy's smaller.
I think. Mandy had $6 million.
Interesting. So this is definitely a bigger budget. Okay. I was gonna say there's no way it's
double the
smaller
budget.
than Mandy. Cool. Interesting. But definitely good to know. Anyway, continue.
So, this film made a grand total in 81 theaters in its first week of $356,000.
Oh.
It is unclear whether or not it's going to have a less
like a wider release.
Yeah. So, naturally, it didn't do great. All-time box office 9,782.
Oh. Man.
All-time domestic non-sequel box office 8,984.
A little bit better.
Science fiction movies 597.
Okay.
Horror movies 522.
Okay.
It made the second most money of all movies by that production company that also did Mandy.
I was wondering.
It is, yeah. It's Elijah Wood's company.
Okay. I had a feeling. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Very cool. The one we're going to be talking about is very small, and you should be able to get all of these.
Okay.
2020 movies. The domestic box office, Color Out of Space came in 13th.
For 2020 movies.
Yep.
Yeah. So what's come out in the last month? All right. Well, Doolittle's obviously up there. That's probably like number 3, right?
Number 2.
All right. What the fuck else has come out?
I have to look some of these up because I've never fucking heard of them.
But
you might have.
Maybe. Start giving me some hints.
Okay. 4 of these are in Japanese, and one of them's a Met opera, so we're just gonna skip those.
What?
Oh.
Oh my god. Okay. The Grudge.
The Grudge.
Or just it is The Grudge.
That one came in 3rd. I'm sorry, I have to look most of these up. No idea who the fuck are these people?
Dude,
Matt Damon's in a war movie.
Is it 1917? Didn't that
No.
already come out?
Yeah, it came out in the end of 2020. Oh, this one's like, the new Guy Ritchie movie.
Wait, we didn't. Wait. We didn't talk about the. Wait a second. We did talk about the Matt Damon one. Hold on. Go back up.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a Matt Damon one.
Yeah. What is it? I don't know what it is.
Oh, it's The Last Full Measure.
I have no idea.
I have to assume it made $3.
Yeah, I've never.
Based on the fact I've never even heard of this movie, and I live in LA.
Underwater probably is up there somewhere too, right?
Yeah, Underwater's number 5.
Okay.
The new Guy Ritchie movie. Anyone?
Ugh, man, I don't know who Guy Ritchie is.
You know Guy Ritchie?
Maybe if I saw him, but not off the top of my head.
Guy Ritchie's the director.
Okay.
He did like those new Sherlock Holmes movies. Snatch.
Is it Doolittle again?
No, it's The Gentleman.
No, I've never heard of that either.
I'm pretty sure. Okay, this one is the one where a white girl and my crush, what's her face, Tiffany Haddish, have like a company, and Selma Hayek attacks them with her boobs at one point in the trailer.
It sounds so dumb. I have no idea, dude.
I'm pretty sure there's like a laxative joke. Or no, it's a hot pepper. It's a carrot. They eat a Carolina
I'm sure it's
Reaper.
both. Yeah, and it makes them poop terribly, right?
Yeah. Do you know the movie?
I have no idea, dude.
It's called Like a Boss.
Okay.
Great.
That one sounds fun.
The horror movie with the kids and everyone's favorite hawk-nosed gentleman.
What? Is it Gretel and Hansel?
Oh no, but that kind of looks good.
It does look good. I saw an ad for it.
I'm like, oh, that looks scary.
Yeah, it actually looks like it's scary. So,
this one, like the commercial involved hands. Yeah, it's like everyone's favorite tweenage guy with a big nose screaming at a babysitter.
Oh my God, it's Finn Wolfhard in The Turning.
The Turning. I like how that's the clue that got you. He's number 7.
That's so rude, dude. He's a kid. Leave him alone.
He's fully an adult.
No, he's not. He's like what? Like 14? Watch, he's like 32. He's aged a lot since like the last episode. How old is he? He's 17, so he's basically an adult. He's about to hit that gross phase.
He's already in the gross phase.
Like fully in the gross phase. Dude, he looks like Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller? A little bit.
A little bit. He's gonna get shoved into the same roles.
Okay, then we gotta talk about the number 1 movie.
Okay.
This is a movie that's a sequel that no one asked for, but they threw so much money at, so much that it's made $122 million.
Dude, is it like the second sequel, or is it like
it is the third?
So it's the 4th movie?
No, it's the third movie.
Okay, so it's the third in the series.
Why would you frame the question that way, Avery?
Yeah,
it's intentionally confusing.
Man, I don't know. You gotta help me.
It's the guy from Gemini Man.
Stop, dude. Gemini Man?
Yeah. You know?
That's Spencer's cousin, right?
No, Gemini Man. Vanessa Hudgens is in this movie.
Is that the name of the movie?
Vanessa Hudgens is in this movie? You think that's the name?
Is it Gemini Man 3?
No.
Gemini Man 3D.
All right. Really questionable decision guy in terms of movie choices. Used to be a comedian, then tried to be a serious actor. Didn't work out. He was blue in a film.
Oh my God. What's his fucking name? Paul Giamatti.
Jesus Christ, it's Will Smith in Bad Boys for Life. I don't even know what to do with you, dude.
Oh, really? It wasn't Paul Giamatti in Gemini Man 3? Gemini Man 3D?
Gemini is
Paul Giamatti.
Incorrect pronoun.
Paul Giamatti was also blue in a movie, so that really fucking threw me off, okay?
Oh my god, dude. Now this Bad Boys for Life, it had to come out in this year. Gemini Man's just a mispronunciation of Gemini Man.
Oh, that really threw me off.
I was like, it's a Will Smith movie. I can't give him too much leeway.
Yeah.
Didn't go so well.
Yeah. Bad Boys 3D. Back at it again in space.
Afterlife.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I did great this time.
Bad Boys Afterlife.
Dude, I nailed like every movie on our budget segment last week, so of course I like had to be behind this time. There's like no way I was
This
gonna
one's
get
a
involved.
weird, like it's a bunch of these like you wouldn't have gotten. Never even heard of them. Teneki no Ko.
Nope.
Wazosek by the Met Opera. Chapak.
Dude, you're making words up. Fucking stop.
No, I'm trying to pronounce this one. It's called Sarileru Nikevaru.
Oh my god, you're cursing the audience again.
I'm pretty sure this is a...
You're like reading stuff out of the Necronomicon. God, it's so aggressive sounding.
Well, yeah, I'm cursing you. I'm not giving you a fucking hug.
That's
Jesus
true.
Christ.
That is true. Oh my god. Well, what do you think, Ash? Is that everything for our budget breakdown? Did we break it down just to build it back up?
I just want to remind you that while this movie only made like $300,000, H.P. Lovecraft died penniless. So.
Oh man. So it still made more money
than
H.P. Lovecraft did.
It's okay. It's kind of a win-win because he's like a terrible guy, like just a horrific racist, just like in a big way, and he died penniless. So now that his stuff is good and he didn't make money off of it, like I don't feel bad about it.
How did he die penniless? Like if people still adapt his works, how is it even possible that he didn't make money unless people like discovered it 50 years later? Is that what happened?
I mean, basically, like his stuff was disseminated through a bunch of other people that he like either tutored or ghost wrote for.
Really? Now that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just like that doesn't seem to make any sense. Like if how would people find it in the first place? You know, if he was that poor, it would seem to me like it would just be lost to time. Like he would have written all this stuff and then like put it in a box and then gave up and then died. You know, like but I guess it must have been disseminated in some fashion through people that he knew, so.
I mean, so it's kind of it's a little bit from his family. I mean,
is his family making a ton of money off of it? Like,
no, it's all public domain now.
Oh, really? You did tell me that. So
yeah.
we talked about that a little bit, I think last week, or you texted it to me. But now that it's all public domain, hopefully we're gonna start seeing some like healthy adaptations because it's ripe for adapting.
Apparently everything, it's confusing about how it is in the United States. So in the UK and Europe, actually, most things translated in the 80s, late 80s, to being public domain.
Oh, really?
However, there are certain longer form stories like, I believe, the Dunwich Horror, the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath, and At the Mountains of Madness. And I think one other one. Charles Dexter Ward? Maybe that one? Who knows? Anyway, they were written later in his life, and it's when he kind of switched to long form. Because dude's insane.
Yeah.
Dude like dropped out at 15 and then just like wrote short stories ever since. And the first one's like this fucked up one about a man in a cave. He's like being chased down by some fucked up monster that's just another guy.
Dude, I love it. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I really want to see a good adaptation of Shadows over Innsmouth. I want to see these gross fishmen eating
that one
people and
like
stuff.
they did. Okay, so we'll probably get into it a little later. They kind of tried to do that with Dagon, but I think that the things that they really missed are kind of unforgivable.
Oh, really? That's unfortunate.
Yeah, you know.
I just like fish people, man, and Cthulhu, and it's just all fun to me.
Yeah, Call of Cthulhu, like well, let's translate into our our expectations, because I'll
Sure.
kind of talk about why.
How about before we do that, we take a short break, can refresh my water. The listeners can listen to some soft jazz or perhaps an advertisement. And then we'll come
Or a
back.
loud jazz.
Or-
a soft advertisement.
Or jazz metal, perhaps. I'm just gonna take that and loop it. No, I'm not gonna do it. All right. Okay.
We'll be back in a minute.
All right. We love you. Back. Did you learn anything new, Ash?
Yeah, looking through things, it looks like there are a mix of things between disseminations of letters, already published books that didn't sell very well, as well as he used to work for this magazine called Weird Tales that basically like hung on to his writings until after he died, and then published a bunch that they rejected.
And then started, what dicks, dude?
Yeah. Well, he also
it made like a ton of money off of
You have to
them.
think about it. He was writing between 1917 and 1937, so basically into the Roaring 20s, then just like knocked out by fucking the Great Depression.
World War II.
World War II had not started yet when he.
Yeah, World War II back in the 20s.
God damn it!
Rough time.
Really, he he died at 46.
He died at 46 or in 46?
At 46 in 1937.
In what year? Wow, so this is a while ago. I don't know why I thought he was more
No,
contemporary.
his contemporaries were like Edgar Allan Poe.
Interesting.
He's like the yeah.
So that's probably why it reads all old.
Yeah, but it's also that's like part of the theme. It's like
Yeah, that's what he's going for.
ancient beyond
The
time.
very long-winded sentences.
Oh, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love it. Anyway, let's
Yeah.
get into our expectations for this film.
Yeah, that sounds really
You
good.
want to start off on that?
Yeah, sure. I'll definitely start off. Like we mentioned earlier in the podcast, I insisted that Asher didn't tell me anything about this movie this time around, which is a little bit different than usual when I'm like, fucking talk to me about it. But this time, no, he didn't tell me anything, which is a little frustrating, but that's okay.
What do you fucking want from me, dude?
But regardless, we've been hyping this movie up, on the show and to each other for quite a while now. I think we saw the trailer at least 3 or 4 months ago. It's been some time.
It's been a little bit, yeah.
Since and we've been talking about it since, and I guess I kind of forgot it was going to come up this quickly.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like a January movie, but now having seen it, I totally see why it was released in January, but that's not really the point. It just I don't know. I expected cosmic horror. I expected some Nick Cage freakouts, and I think I got everything I wanted too, which is really good.
Yeah.
What about you, Ash?
So, you know, I wanted to kind of defer talking about like H.P. Lovecraft's writing style is because, listen, a lot of H.P. Lovecraft fans have their favorite Lovecraftian movies, but I would argue, like, because like from a written form, it is the superior horror. I think it is the best written horror out there. He puts, you know, a lot of people to shame. Not a lot of people can really hang with him, but it doesn't translate very well to movies. So my expectations, like, I was excited, woohoo, but honestly, I was keeping my expectations pretty low because number one, he's a writer who never sets a scene in his book, which makes it really hard to write cinematic versions
to actually like definitely to actually like block a scene because there's no imagery in that way.
It's like, you know, it's always like we talked of this and this until he grew tired into the, you know, it's like that kind of stuff. It's like that's not a scene. It could be like that's a bad example, but it kind of all runs together. And so I was just like, because I rewatched Dagon because our mutual friend Ryan was like, no, that's the best Lovecraftian one. And there's
I've never heard of Dagon.
I didn't really like it. I mean, it's kind of, you might like it. It's got like body horror. It's very 80s. But
when did it come out?
It came out
in the 80s.
No, it just looks like the 80s. I think it's 95.
I'm definitely gonna look into that. 2001.
Okay, so it just looks fucking awful.
So it's just cheap. Yeah, so it's just cheap. Great.
Yeah.
But very cool.
So yeah, I rewatched that one because he was saying that was the best one. No. I think they generally don't do well, but it's like so influential, you know? It's like Alien, The Thing. Like these are all movies that are influenced by how he writes horror. It's
for sure.
Be afraid of that which you don't understand. Whereas, you know, and it's the OG American horror. It's none of this horror. It's like, oh, there's something I don't understand. At the end, I'm going to turn to the camera and be like, it's the ancient spirit of the young child who died in this house.
I hate that. I hate that. Oh, my God.
And that's so I think considered
that's
American
what makes it
horror.
So much scarier.
Yeah. Like,
what's so much scarier about this is that it is so you will never understand. Not only is like you don't know what's going on, because that's one thing, but it's this fear of the known multiplied by infinity, stretching back eons that to time incalculable. You know, like that's what makes this good, is because it is far bigger than just you. It's far bigger than Earth.
Oh yeah.
You know,
and we should,
and I like that a lot.
Let's fucking get into it. Let's get into our pros for this movie.
Oh yeah. I do want to I think it's I want to start just by saying I see all of the roots. It's like it's speaks on its own that people use Lovecraftian as a term to describe, you know, really broad cosmic horror, you know? We've talked about the SCP Foundation before, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think briefly. So basically it's kind of like, do you know what creepypasta is?
Yeah. No, you definitely were sharing this with me where it's like cosmic horror that's almost crowdsourced.
That's what you're 100% correct. So it's like basically it's this SCP Foundation. So it's this structured world under which people on this chat board, or like it's like a website, and you know it's like a wiki. People write stories about entries into the SCP, which is secure, contain, protect, and it's basically this science division that finds these cosmic horrors and catalogs them and tries to contain them if possible. And it completely has roots in Lovecraftian and cosmic horror. That is its nature. It's supposed to be things that are bigger than you will ever understand, that are more horrific than you could possibly imagine. And so that's like kind of the idea here. And I totally saw like all of that within this movie. Like this could have been an SCP movie.
Right.
Like it could have been branded that way and nothing would have changed. Which I like, but I think it stands on its own. The fact that there is such a thing as Lovecraftian horror. It's like he wrote this horror, and now it's like a movement. You know, it's like it's just bigger than him by a huge long shot. You know, I would say that that's more defining than something that Kubrick. It seems Kubrickian. I think it's bigger than that.
Oh, it definitely is. I think that this guy has kind of influenced storytelling as a whole in a way that a lot of people haven't. And if anyone ever gets around to trying to check out H.P. Lovecraft, I really do recommend. His works are kind of meant to be heard aloud. The way that they're written is just giant blocks of like long words, and they kind of warp you around so it feels like you're going crazy while you read it. But then you'll finally get to the end of a thought. It could be at the end of a sentence by a comma, it could be 2 paragraphs later. You could be completely like kind of swirled in this mess of words, and it won't make sense till the end. It's incredible. I really, when I first got into H.P. Lovecraft, it was a lot of reading it out loud, listening to audiobooks of it. It is a really fun auditory experience, and I really recommend checking it out. But for this film in particular, I would say that this is the best representation of H.P. Lovecraft's stories to be adapted to film yet.
That's excellent. That is so good to hear, because this movie just has like, it's like poppy enough. I don't even know if that really is a good word to describe it, but it's like, it feels self-contained, and it feels like it's snappy. Like it doesn't waste time, and it doesn't try to pretend that it's more than it is. It feels like a movie that would totally come out in the 80s.
Absolutely.
Like everything about
80s
it.
sensibility with a much better visual medium.
Yeah, I think so too. Although we'll talk about some of the effects a little bit later, but but I will say it seems to me like whoever was writing behind this, who was writing this, because everything was so snappy.
I believe the
dialogue would just fit so well.
I believe it's Richard Stanley.
Yeah, Richard Stanley, that's his name. I don't know anything else by him.
Oh, you don't know
he's done.
Richard Stanley? I think we've actually watched a film that he was originally the director of, but was later fired.
What was it?
The Island of Dr. Moreau.
No shit. We did talk about this last week, or at some point. Oh, he also did Hardware. Interesting. Okay, so he's done a whole bunch of stuff. People apparently really like Hardware.
Yeah.
That's like one of those.
I've heard of that.
Actually, that kind of makes him a perfect choice for something like this.
But he didn't write, he just directed it. It was actually a woman named Scarlett who wrote it. I'm trying to look at what else she did.
Okay.
She did Replace, which looks like it's with... Is this... Oh no, so this was her first like full writing. Everything else was additional dialogue editor. Yeah.
Very cool.
Very interesting.
Okay, interesting. Well, I'm all about it. I totally supported this. This movie was just fun. I mean, the effects were hit or miss, but they did a great job. Like with, I don't know. I think specifically when the hydrologist looked into the eyes of the girl, Levian, was that her name? Leviathan? What was her name? Levia,
or
yeah.
Lavinia.
And you see
Lavinia.
and you see all these like twisting tentacles that just like sprawling out into infinity. I think they were trying to evoke the sense of this, alien being from space is more than you will. It's just different. It's not like Greys who land on a UFO. It's like this disease that like just destroys organic matter and forms it and tries to coalesce
whatever
it.
The version of terraform that is relevant to an alien planet. Yeah, because that is what it is doing. Is terraforming. Man.
Yeah, I really liked that. Depending on how you were exposed to it, like if you got exposed directly to it, such as the mother, which I want to talk about that on its own point, but then you just got this full blast of all of this like radiation and it really affected you. Or if you slowly ingested it over time, it drove you insane, like Nicolas Cage, because he was putting it in like the ice cubes in his whiskey,
and also the fruit and veggies.
And like he took a shower in it and it was like all on his skin.
And whatever that thing he picked up in there.
Sweet.
Great. And then just like the kid, like who who stared directly into it. I don't think that just looking at it also was a maddening factor.
Got in his brain.
Yeah, because drinking it, it was like his arms were calcifying with like this disgusting kind of gray,
scaly texture. Yeah.
And
it was absorbing him slowly from within. And then the mom and the kid just got blasted.
Yeah.
Just like absolute like worst case scenario annihilated with it. Probably like with what happened, to the dog and the llamas.
Yep.
They were probably
alpacas.
the same thing.
The animal of the future, Avery. So shut the fuck up.
Is an alpaca different from a llama? I always thought they were the same thing.
I think similar families, but they are distinct.
Separate. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. But so definitely something else. But the alpacas were like, they were drinking it in the water and eating it in the food, and then they just like totally got blasted by it or something because they were outside. But I love it. I love how it's the movie starts basically just with this rock that falls from space in their front yard, and they're all like, well, holy shit, what is this here? And they're all like touching it, and like the news comes. I thought that was great. It seemed like small town, like weird shit happening. It felt like something out of an 80s movie, right?
Yeah. I think that while it was a theme that was explored a lot in the 80s, I think that this was a very unique and modernized version of that. I think that it doesn't quite ring to me with 80s film.
Okay.
Mostly because I don't like a lot of 80s film. No, I think that tonally it was just a little bit different. I mean, like the thing is, so in the late 80s is when this stuff became public use, except for in games, which was a weird thing. That's a whole nother thing.
That is weird.
Because Dungeons and Dragons got sued.
I think I've heard that before.
Yeah, D&D got sued in 2nd edition for releasing Cthulhu and their deities and demigods.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I think I have heard before that it wasn't really like the rights weren't public domain for use in games, but I didn't know that it went as far as to be like D&D getting sued.
Yeah, it's by this company called
interesting.
Chaosium that made Arkham Horror and Call of Cthulhu the RPG. Anyway, but yeah, so like. These are ideas that they tried to implement on earlier. I think that this is probably the most effective version of that, though. So it's like, while it does remind me of a lot of 80s stuff, I think it is distinct, and that's kind of what I liked about it, because I don't think I've seen a movie handle people slowly going mad in quite this way.
Oh yeah, it's really good. And you see like especially I presume we're both discussing Nicolas Cage here, right?
I think
because
Nick Cage, I think the little boy did a great job.
Oh yeah, him too.
I think
Absolutely.
Lavinia, that actress, did a really good job as well.
Because it was affecting all of them. It wasn't just Nick Cage, and it was the whole family was getting afflicted by
and just
this.
seeing
Very
him
cool.
argue with his wife in that way.
Oh yeah, like with like when he bites into the fruit and the tomatoes, and he's just like spitting them out and then throwing them into the trash can and throwing a fit, was like that was why I was excited to see Nicolas Cage in this movie.
Yeah,
like I wanted to see him lose his mind, because that's what he does best.
The car scene, like, because like that's the thing, is if you're gonna have someone go insane, I don't think there's anyone better. Because like, I'm okay with Nick Cage. I don't really have a strong opinion about him, but he does like, he weirdly worked unbelievably well at becoming insane, because his insane is such a different flavor than everyone else.
Oh yeah, he does that thing where he yells and he's like, ah, and it's so fucking good. It's like he is great at it, and that's like been his strong thing throughout his entire career, is that he could scream in a way that's almost funny at first, and then he just keeps going and like elevates it even more. That was something that was so good about Mandy. There's a scene in Mandy where he does basically the exact same thing and he loses his mind, and it's excellent. He's great at that.
Yeah.
And it's like, everything else about his acting is fine, but with him being crazy and just over the top is peak. It's where he peaks, and he knows it. Like, that's how he gets cast nowadays.
Yeah,
which is great.
And
there's been a Nicolas Cage renaissance because of, like, specifically because of Mandy, but I think also because of this movie is going to bring it back around too.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
very cool.
hopefully this gets a wider release. I don't know what's going on.
I hope so too.
It's fucking
I
great.
think it's unfortunate. Like, I think people made fun of Nicolas Cage for a while because he was in some like sillier movies. Like he was in National Treasure.
Also, he was like
an example.
He kept trying to be next to very, very serious actors in a way, where it just
I think he found himself.
The juxtaposition was like too stark for a long time. I think where you'd have him acting alongside like Pacino. I think he was in a movie with Pacino.
I don't. I have no idea.
But,
I haven't seen it. If he was,
yeah, I mean, like he was in actors where or he was in movies where he was really juxtaposed against really bad or really good.
Yeah,
I can't even fucking talk
because he's goofy in this way, and like it seems like he just shows up and acts like himself, but then he'll do something totally wild and crazy. And like that's what's so fun about him is that he seems like he's just Nicolas Cage until he explodes and loses his mind, and like that's great. Like he was in The Wicker Man is another one that people make fun of him for.
My classic
from the mid
character
2000s
from Diablo, the Wickle Man.
The Wickle Man, and that's the one where he goes, "Oh no, not the bees, not the bees," and these awful CG bees sting his face, like. Yeah. And like what's funny is like he's doing the best he can, but the director or then the production team made the awful decision to include that scene. But him losing his mind is fun. You know?
Yeah.
It's just yeah. But oh well. What can you do? This Elijah Wood what's the production company called?
RJK or something. What's it called?
Yeah.
RJ McJesus.
Yeah. Elijah Wood Production Company. Spectre Vision?
That sounds right.
Yeah, Spectre Vision. Formerly the Woodshed, an American film production company founded in 2010.
Wow.
Gotcha. Genre-driven company and focuses mostly on horror. Yeah, cool. And I guess it's also... People also search for XYZ. Maybe they're affiliated. I don't know. But yeah, so Spectre Vision has been doing this thing. They also did Mandy, and they seem to really love working with Nicolas Cage, and I'm so glad.
Yeah, maybe they can just find him a permanent niche.
I think he's found it. I think that this is his thing, is these weird, offbeat, different horror films that could have come out in the 80s that people just love right now. And that's good. I'm glad. I'm so happy for him. You know, but let's talk some more pros here.
Set.
What else we got? Oh yeah, the set's really good.
Set's great.
Yeah. That house is beautiful, but also everything around it, the woods. What's Ezra's house? His name was Ezra?
I think his name, Ezra.
Yeah, that was all fun. It felt like real. It felt like alive and really, really isolated, which is what they were trying to go for.
Yeah.
So I like that.
And like it almost had like a petting zoo feel. Like, did you get that at all?
You gotta explain. I don't know what you mean at all.
The way that the fences were built around, like I don't know what it was. It was like the super low fences and just the hilly areas with, I don't know. Maybe it just reminds me of a petting zoo I went to when I was younger, but I got weird petting zoo vibes.
Huh. All right.
Yeah.
It reminded me a little bit of, it wasn't framed at all the same way, but it reminded me of the house from Hereditary a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because it's another horror movie that takes place predominantly in a house.
I think also just how they played with light. I mean, like, I think that kind of moving into another pro was like how they dealt with like movie time nonsense.
Yeah.
And then like the moment that like you go from like, you know, movies go from day to night all the time. It's not a big deal. But once you frame it like, oh, this is all happening very sequentially and the characters are kind of feeling at the same time as you are, then it got really disorienting and in like a really effective way. Cause they're like, oh yeah, time's all fucked up. Cause like in reality.
Yeah. That was illustrated well.
Yeah. Cause like in the movie, they were experiencing time at the same speed that you were. So over the course of like, 2 hours, multiple days were passing. Like that's the way it was framed, at least in the movie.
Yeah. I really liked when they bring that up is right after the mom and the youngest son get blasted by the pink radiation, and they are fused together. And like I wasn't sure if like I kind of had a feeling after you saw the llamas or the alpacas like seem to be kind of fused together. I wasn't sure if that's what they were going to do, but they went all the way with the body horror there. And I wasn't sure that they were going to do it.
Yeah.
They went all the way. And they did enough. Like, I think they knew that their CG effects budget wasn't super high, so they didn't focus on it too much, except for at vital moments, which I think was a good choice. But like the mom and the youngest son were fused together by this, and I honestly, that's when I was like, this is ridiculous. You know, I didn't expect them to do that, because you never see in movies where children die. Like, that doesn't really happen. Normally the kid's okay.
Kids never die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
that was an intense part. I thought it was done considering they didn't have much money. Like, not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It was effective. They did the right thing by not
showing it.
Choosing to exactly. By you see it like quickly once and you know it's horrific and disgusting, and that's all you needed.
Yeah.
That's like everything you needed. And then the other time you see it after like she's fully transformed and turns into this, I don't even know what to call it, but it had like 6 legs and it was running around and wanted to absorb her, or the Leviathan, or whatever the youngest daughter's name was.
That poor child.
Yeah, Levian. But yeah,
Leavening.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but they showed it in the dark, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, so even though it was CG, they lit it in a way where it was like, you got the point and you know it's this disgusting fusion of her mother. I loved the way they interacted with the mother and the son. They were just like, oh my, like they didn't even know what to say, you know, and they were just sitting there and they were like, this is disgusting and horrible.
Yeah.
You know, which is the only, like, if something like that happened in reality, you would react the same way. You would be horrified and like disgusted, but you think it's still your mom. Yeah. You know. So I liked that a lot. That's when the movie went from being like, this is kind of fun, kind of scary, to really going off the rails.
Yeah.
So,
and like I mean, like, we got a lot of pros here that we got to get through.
Yeah, we do.
The slow redesign of the nature outside, I think, was done really well.
It's subtle until it's like to a point where you can't not notice it.
Yeah, but they don't,
like that
and
a
like
lot.
it's all the more insane.
Yeah,
it's just crazy. I really liked like all the winks to Lovecraft fans. Lavinia's doing the rituals out of the Necronomicon, and carving her, like the news anchors have an elder sign on the side of their news van.
Do they? I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it's like the
That's cool.
little tree. Fucking carving elder runes on her body when she's doing that thing. Miskatonic University, the famous university that's made up for Lovecraft stories. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that. I wouldn't have caught it.
Yeah, well, Ward was wearing like a Miskatonic. And also, I just want to talk about the guy who played Ward. Pretty good. Also good. Fuck you to Lovecraft's terrible politics.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, like, I just am like kind of happy because it's like, yeah, he is a guy who wrote like an entire thesis on how like black people were invented by God to be beasts.
Holy shit. Are you
Yeah,
serious?
dude, he's a monster. He's like a bad guy.
He's like, oh, it's bad because it's like, that's a terrible thing to say, but he's like intelligent too.
Yeah.
He wrote a paper about it. Oh, that's gross.
Yeah. Wait, what was it called?
Like, he's smart enough to not be that naive.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, man.
Yeah. Okay. Beast in a semi-human figure filled with vice. Yep.
Holy crap.
Yeah, no, so like putting a black guy is pretty much one of the leads. I'm like, oh yeah.
Good move.
Yeah.
Good move.
It's the only way you could justify doing a Lovecraft thing now.
Who even knows if that was like intentional, but I like to think that was intentional.
I think it was a wink at the very least. And then also getting
Yeah.
Tommy Chong. We didn't really
Tommy Chong.
talk about
What?
Tommy.
Which one was he?
Tommy Chong? He was Ezra.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen Tommy Chong in anything else. Who is he?
Do you know who
there he is.
Tommy Chong?
No, he's 81 years old.
Yeah. And Cheech and Chong? He was also in That 70s Show?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, he doesn't look a day over 60.
No, he looks
good for
he looks
him.
Fucking great. I wanted to bring up the fact that it's like when he was building this movie, I was not excited, but he did a pretty good job of being like a crazy stone guy.
Yeah, he did. So he was still alive when Lovecraft was alive, right?
He was born the year after.
He was born in 38.
Year after he died.
So close. So he probably wouldn't have heard about him anyway.
Who's the,
Nobody
that
cared
poor
until
guy?
like years later.
That's what,
yeah. Nobody cares about the poor people.
Yeah, that's
Anyway.
Tommy Chong, real pretentious dude.
Yeah, look at him. Just look at him. But yeah, Tommy Chong. There you go. Boom.
Anything else you want
Good for
to
him.
bring up pro-wise before we get into the cons?
Man, I love that you can tell that the people who did this were fans of like good body horror because they did it great.
Yeah.
They like hit every like thing about body horror. The thing about body horror is that it's a disgusting manipulation of the human form that's permanent. So if that happens to you, you're never going to be the same again. And that's why it's scary. And so like they just they just snapped their fingers and that woman and the kid were fused together forever.
Yeah.
And it's like it was great. Like irreversibly maimed. And I think that's why it's so effective. And they knew that. And they just did it.
Yeah.
You know? And I love that they had the balls, because I think we've talked about this a little bit before. How body horror nowadays, it seems like people are afraid to push it too far. You know, people want to be a little more contained, so they'll like allude to it, or they'll be like, we had an example the last time we talked about it, and I can't remember what it is now.
I
But
don't even remember the last time we talked about it.
Yeah.
Although
yeah,
your description of
they
it,
did it. They went all the way. They went all the way with this, which made me so happy. It was like exciting to me. And like, because that is something that is so ridiculous. And like, I was like watching it and I was like getting kind of grossed out. I was like creeped out. Like this movie scared me a little bit. And I liked that a lot because body horror is effective and gross.
yeah,
So good on them. Good on the people who made this movie for really actually doing body horror and not like skimping out. Even if the effects weren't great, it almost doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like honestly, it doesn't matter. They did it and it was effective. So good on them. Thank you. Thank you for doing more body horror, because it needs to be more prevalent, because it's scary. All right, that's it. I'm done ranting.
All right.
Anyway.
should we get into our cons?
Yeah, sure. I think I have at least one thing to say.
3 cons.
But
2 of them are kind of the
okay.
same.
Okay, let's hear it.
This movie didn't get enough money. Not enough people are seeing this movie. My 2 big cons.
It's true.
I think that
You're 100% right.
like this is a very unique movie to come out in 2020. Like it's wild, and just the muddled puddle of Sonics and Morbiuses. This is coming out. Come on,
Yeah. It's really kind of cool.
it's cool.
I think if this movie had a better budget, my cons that I'm about to bring up here probably would have been completely alleviated. I think they would have had more time. Well, I guess I'll just say it. Basically, the CGI effects don't look good. There's like the one scene when they're driving down the road coming back from the hospital and they see the CGI cat that's all gross. It looks really bad.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't even want to say it looks really bad, because they probably were on time constraints and budget constraints.
My question: do you think it looks worse than the cats from Crimes of Grindelwald?
That's kind of, I don't know. They're 2 very different looking things trying to achieve 2 very different end goals.
That's
right?
fair.
You know, I think the Crimes of Grindelwald, instead of going a more realistic route, should have attempted to do a more cartoony route, which I think they sort of kind of went for. That movie just lacked vision. This movie, on the other hand, I think it seems that they really did the best that they could with the time and the money they had. In Grindelwald, it seems like they just skimped on it because they just didn't care.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's 2 different kinds of bad. So, yeah. I do think that for the most part, this movie, Color Out of Space, did the best that they could with their budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, these cats look pretty bad.
Like, that's what I immediately thought of, though. But then I went, you know what? It's okay. That movie got like $100 million more to make it. Like, I don't feel.
Yeah. It's like it's inexcusable in the Crimes of Grindelwald. This isn't okay. That movie shouldn't look that bad, because it's not like the source. I don't know. That movie was garbage. But like in this movie, it's like the CGI wasn't the point, and they cut away from it fast enough that you see it and you're like, oh, that's bad, and then it cuts away, and you're like, okay. It's still like it like broke your immersion for like a second, and it wasn't like this long, lingering, stupid shot like it is in Crimes of Grindelwald, where they're like, look at our shit CGI. Like, yeah, I bet you like this, don't you, idiots? Like, that's how it comes across in Grindelwald.
No.
So I don't know. While the CGI is bad in Color Out of Space, it's almost like it gets a pass because it's like they had a nothing budget.
Yeah, I would also argue that like it was more the biological alive models that looked bad more than like the planet scene where they showed like the other planet through Lavinia's eyes. I thought that looked pretty good generally. It was a little blurry, but probably it
was cool.
It was good.
It was more of an abstract, right?
Yeah.
Which is easier to sell than something that's trying to look alive, which I think is what you're trying to say.
And like the tentacles coming out, and even like I think like certain things like the praying mantis looked all right. I thought that looked pretty good.
I thought that looked really good, actually.
Yeah, it was.
I could kind of tell that was in the trailer, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
I think that was in the trailer because it definitely looked really good. And I wonder if they put more time into that for the trailer so they could beef up the marketing just like a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's probably what happened.
Maybe.
But it doesn't matter. Like that looked, it in general looked passable with the exception of a couple times.
Yeah.
You know, I thought like the alpaca mass when they were all together, that wasn't excellent, but it was good enough and it was dark enough that it was sold perfectly fine. And then they coupled that with actually spraying real blood on Nicolas Cage.
Well, not real blood.
Well, yeah, I mean like set blood. Like it was like actually in camera. Like they didn't go in and paint CGI blood on Nicolas Cage. But like maybe they used real blood. No, I don't know. But like they did a great job, you know, making that look good. And also Nicolas Cage's reaction and overaction really sold that whole scene in a way that it wasn't relying on the CG to get the point across. So pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking good, man. I just it's hard to really fault the CG because they did have such a shoestring budget.
They did, and they had to hire some
on the line.
It had a pretty big cast, all things considered. Like for what it was.
I mean, I guess
like
it wasn't super big.
12 people.
Yeah, 12, maybe 15, including extras.
Yeah, so it wasn't huge, but it's like enough people that it gets a little bloated. My big con. Fuck American horror, quit it. Not everyone needs to survive. I think that if there's a movie where the like good guy, lead guy doesn't have to survive, it's an H.P. Lovecraft story. He either doesn't have to survive or he can go insane as well.
Or like the kids don't live. Well, you know? Like that's
the kids.
That's such a great.
No, but I'm just saying Ward at the end.
Okay.
I don't think that he should have survived. I think that him doing monologue, throw cigarette into reservoir at the end was kind of cheapened everything.
Stupid, kind of silly. Yeah,
like that's not
what exactly happened at the end. So like there was like this big flash of color, and then he exits like the root cellar, and everything's just gray. Did the thing leave or did it die? Like I don't. It wasn't very clear to me.
I think it's inferred that it takes the color. It's all about the color. So it was taking the color, taking the life, taking the sanity, taking whatever. But it's also like it's Lovecraft. You don't explain it.
It doesn't need to be too literal.
You can't understand it, or your puny minds would fucking explode.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that this alludes that this could happen again somewhere else. You don't know if it's gone.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that there doesn't need to be a rigid explanation for what it is.
Yeah.
You know,
that's the beauty of it. I think that's almost what makes it really great is like, don't like, because I think that there's not an answer. I think that that's the best way to write something is to like give it an open-endedness that makes people want to discuss whether it has an answer, but it actually doesn't. Because then pseudo-intellectuals
Lovecraft probably didn't know. Yeah. Like it's this timeless eldritch horror that goes from planet to planet and saps the color and life out of things and then just moves on. You know? Yeah. It's crazy. It's very cool.
And they also did I want to mention like they did the Midsummer warpy stuff towards the end too really well. You know what I'm talking
about? The what? What do you mean?
Like for Midsummer, you know how they did a lot of like the warping stuff in the backgrounds and all that stuff where
oh yeah, okay.
They had like,
that was the first time I ever saw that was Midsummer. That was really effective.
Yeah, they did it kind of in this movie, like especially when Ward's like running away and like his body's like glitching out where it's like stretching in certain directions and like his head's like So they did some cool stuff there.
I liked how they had the sheriff who was going to Ezra's house and he just gets snatched away by one of the trees.
Oh yeah,
just there.
Also
he was
looked
there,
terrible.
And he was gone.
Also looked so
Oh yeah, it looked stupid. But it like at that point I was so fully sold on the whole movie.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, yeah, get him. Like that was great. I thought it was so much fun. This movie is fun.
It's really fun.
Yeah. So and it's like a great length. It's an hour and 51 minutes.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's like perfect. It was so like refreshingly self-contained, right? Sorry, I'm singing its praises again. We're supposed to be talking about the negative.
Let's just move into the final section because we have been at this for a little while now, and we should give the people what they want.
I think it's about that time.
Concise, nothing. So hit me with it. What you got?
Boom. Let's see. If I had to give it 5 words, oh my goodness. Monocolored ultra body horror.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's all I got. Sorry.
No worries.
You kind of sprung it out on me, huh?
Yeah.
No, but yeah, so this movie has so much good stuff going for it. It's fun. It has Nick Cage. It's got an antagonist that is so ill-defined that it's a strength. You know, like there's so much stuff about this. It's beautiful at times. They picked the best color to have come from space. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but this movie. Yeah, exactly. This movie, like, short of its lacking budget and its ineffective CGI, very brief ineffective CGI, I will mention, this movie gets a hard 9 out of 10 for me. This movie was fucking awesome. Definitely go see it if it's in a theater nearby. See it as soon as you can, because you're lucky if it's nearby. So yeah, Color Out of Space. Boom.
What
do you think, Ash?
Yeah, 5 words: a truly unique Lovecraftian experience.
Nice.
Haven't seen a movie like this, like maybe ever. I mean, I think it's just very. Yeah. It embodies everything I really love about H.P. Lovecraft. And in terms of movies that I've seen, like no movies are good H.P. Lovecraft movies. This is the first one I've authentically been able to go, yeah, it's pretty good. It's a good movie. It's a fucking good movie. It handles madness so well. I loved it a lot. It's a great in-theater experience. You guys should go see it in the theaters. This movie needs the money. Because I want more things like this to come out. You're doing yourself a favor and you're doing me a favor. If you go see this movie, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Bam. Bam. That is a For the Story endorsed movie right there.
Fully.
I am like so satisfied because we've been excited about this movie for months now. And it actually paid off. Yeah. And that's really, really, that makes me very happy.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So definitely go and see it. You're doing yourself a favor.
Yeah.
But But I guess that's where we're at. We got to do some picks, don't we?
Yeah. Show me.
It is getting a little late. Do you want to hold off until tomorrow, or do you want to do? I can.
Let's fucking rapid fire this.
Just wrap it up. All right, let's do it. Cool.
Ding, ding,
so we got the month of February coming up. It felt like January lasted forever, didn't it?
Yeah.
5 weeks.
Yeah. Well, it was
long
12 weeks
fucking
of
month.
January. But
Yeah. Right.
up front, you've got a pick. You're the first pick of the month.
I do have a pick. Oh man, I do have a pick. I totally fooled myself for a second because I was like, I'm gonna pick Guns Akimbo, but it's not until the beginning of March that comes out. So I had a couple things in mind. You know what? Fuck it. I had so much fun with this Lovecraftian. I'm on a kick now. We're gonna watch Dagon.
We're gonna watch
because I want to see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see it, and I think we should talk about it because it looks like something I would like.
Okay.
So yeah, we're
I
gonna
just
watch
watched
Dagon
it last night, so I'm good.
So now you're gonna watch it again.
Okay. All right.
That's the rules.
Okay. We got 2 weeks of movies in the theater coming out for you. After that, we got Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
Just say Birds of Prey, please. That title's so dumb.
And Sanic.
And Sanic. Yeah, we're watching it. There's another one we've been talking. What if it like exceeds our expectations?
I'll come.
You know? Yeah. Yo, what?
I'll ejaculate.
Oh my God!
Anyway,
you heard it here. The stakes are high.
My pick for the month. Dagon is kind of a hokey movie. Birds of Prey is gonna be pretty bad. So is Sonic. I think I'm gonna have to balance it out with a good movie.
Okay.
We're gonna have to see a
All
good
right.
movie. I'm gonna do The Boy Who Cried Werewolf.
What is that?
It's a 2010 Nickelodeon made-for-television film that just came onto Netflix.
Dude, what the fuck, man? Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. Come on. This is gonna suck. There's so many bad movies. Oh, this looks so embarrassing.
You're gonna live with me. I'm gonna live with you, rather. I gotta lower the expectations first. You gotta have no fun with me. You're gonna hate me. And then I'm gonna come and be like, hey, I'm a cool guy. I make food. I make the pasta. I make my bed. I clean myself.
Hey.
I clean after myself.
I make the pasta. Dude, this is... Oh, boy.
Cool. See you guys next month.
Great. You can't just drop a bomb like that. Shit, dude. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll exceed our expectations like Sonic. Dude, February's gonna suck. These are all so bad or potentially bad. Oh, okay. Well, great. I'm glad we... Oh, my God. I'm not glad.
Glad we did this.
So, I'm glad we got to talk about a good movie before February. Well, we'll bring it back around in March. It's going to be better, okay? We promise, guys.
Yeah.
But, shit, I guess that's where we're at. Well, thank you guys for listening. I know this was a longer episode than usual, but we both had a lot to say, I think. So,
yeah.
But thank you guys for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Stick around for our review, keeping the Lovecraft on theme. We're going to be talking about Dagon next week.
Sweet.
All right. Well, we love you all so much. Bye.